and welcome to AutoToday. My name is Dipayan and you're joining us as we take a little break from convention to review this car, the new MG Windsor EV, which wants to change the way we look at segments, the way we look at the interiors of a car, and even the way we buy cars. So what is so special about this car? Let's jump in straight to our review and tell you what this new EV is all about. Disruption with the Windsor, of course, starts on the outside with this design that pushes the envelope of what we know as conventional. Now, it doesn't really fit any brackets. This, as MG calls it, is a CUV, which is a compact utility vehicle. They say it gives you the convenience and comfort of an SUV with the body shape and interiors of a sedan, which is ideally the best of both worlds. But before we jump on the inside, let me take you through the outside and the little bits that make it special. Now, starting at the front, you have this nice DRL that runs along the bonnet line. It is a LED DRL and it looks pretty good. The MG logo is illuminated, which is a pretty premium feature for this segment. We'll come to the price of the car at the end of the review, so stick around. Of course, you have LED lighting and you have sensors for your ADAS, which is level 1 and 2. We'll hop to the side where things start to get a little more unconventional again. Now, on the flanks, of course, you get these 18-inch alloy wheels, which are shod in Goodyear. They are low resistance tires, but they're nice, chunky 215/55 section tires. Now, you also get a charging port on the fender right here for both AC and DC fast charging. Now, AC of course goes up to 22 kilowatts like it does. DC can be supported up to 45 kilowatts, which means that you get about a full battery in about an hour at 45 kilowatts, which is pretty cool. But it's until you come to the side and realize the distance between this wheel and this one, which is 2700 millimeters apart, meaning that you have this massive wheelbase that gives you all that room in the cabin. Now, the door handles are flush fitting too, and they look really cool and they're nice to use as well. The doors themselves have a nice thud to them, and it gives you the sense right from the outside that the build quality on the Windsor takes MG to the next level. Now we'll step to the back before we jump in the cabin and show you what all of this space turns into in the cabin. And tying together a very unconventional design is a very minimalist rear end. Of course, you get an LED strip that runs along the length of the boot lid, and of course you get the Windsor name written in nice spaced out letters and an EV badge to let you know that you're driving an EV. Of course, this is on red plates because it is a temporarily registered car. An actual car will have a green plate. And you get this massive rear windshield as well, which makes driving and seeing out of your IRVM really easy. Altogether, it is a nice cohesive design. It's minimalist. I like the way it looks. But behind this boot lid is a 604-liter boot, which is absolutely massive. And it brings us back to what the MG management said about this car, about it being the ABCs, which means that it has the price of an A segment car, it has the space of a B segment car, and on the inside you have the comfort of a C segment car. So let's hop in the inside and see what this new MG Windsor has to offer. And we're finally in the cabin of the new MG Windsor. But before we get to driving and talking about the engine specs and the way it drives, I want to talk a little bit about the space. The cabin itself is so interesting and so well laid out. I mean, it is an EV, so they have the opportunity to push the convention as much as they can, and they have. I mean, storage is a plenty, and it's not just storage, it's thoughtfully laid out storage in great materials. Like the front on the center console on the dash looks amazing. There's a cup holder right here for the driver, for the passenger. There are 3 cup holders in the center console, and there are bottle holders on the side. There's a tambourine door closing at the bottom. There's a storage in the armrest. I mean, there is plenty of space, and it's so thoughtfully laid out that the MG Windsor is a really nice place to be. There's a fast charger here, wireless as well, and you probably didn't notice it, but there's this massive 15.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system which looks absolutely amazing. Now it is compatible for OTTs, which means that you can watch movies. I suppose you'll have to be in park mode to go to the OTT apps, but it is a great screen, and of course it pairs with a 9-speaker infinity audio system, and I think the one word to describe the audio system is rich. The sound is really nice and it leaves a very nice oral experience for the drivers. And now we're in the second row of the MG Windsor, and this is where the dividends of that 2700mm wheelbase start to pay off. As you can see, the seats are adjusted for our regular driving position, and there is so much knee room, it's not even funny. You have plenty of headroom, and of course you have this massive sunroof. It isn't an opening sunroof, so it would be more of a moonroof in that sense, but it's absolutely massive and it looks absolutely beautiful. I would love to use it on a night with the stars out. I think it would look absolutely amazing. Now, aside from that and the space in the back, the quilted seats are absolutely sublime to sit on. The cushioning is perfect, and that's not all. It has a recline function for 135 degrees of recline, which is great for long drives. And what's even more is that once you're done, you can actually recline these seats all the way back, recline this seat to this position, and you can have a full bed. That is absolutely amazing. And with that huge 15.6-inch infotainment screen, which is also supported for OTTs, you can totally lie back and watch a movie in absolute comfort inside your car. What can be cooler than that? Aside from that, you also get an armrest. You get a 60-40 split and cup holders in the armrest, bottle holders on the side, and 4 of the 9 speakers in the door panels with wood inlays, and plenty of soft touch materials all around, whether it's the handles, the speakers, the wood inlays over here, or even the insets into the door panels. They're so nicely done. The quality feels so nice. It really does feel like a segment disruptor. As a city car, if you're having your driver drive you everywhere, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to be in the back seat of the MG Windsor. Now though, let's get behind the wheel, get out onto the road and tell you what the MG Windsor is like to drive. And I know we've spoke about braking convention a lot in this review, but the Windsor continues to break convention even in the way that you start it. There isn't a conventional start button. If you've driven the Comet, this will be familiar. You just throw it in D from the stock and you're good to drive. Now, the motor powering the MG Windsor is a single PSM motor that is rated for about 136 bhp and 200 Nm of torque. You also get 4 driving modes, which is an Eco Plus, an Eco, a normal and a sport mode, which unleashes all of that torque and all of that power. It only powers the front wheels, and it is powered by a 38 kWh battery, which is rated for a range of 331 kilometers, which should give you about 200 to 250 kilometers on the day-to-day, depending on where you're driving. Now that, in my opinion, is enough to almost charge maybe twice a week, which should make using the MG Windsor in the city very comfortable. But now, the aspect of the MG Windsor that is so surprising to us is the way she handles. Now, going back to that 2700mm wheelbase, which pushes the wheels to the extremities of the car, it doesn't just help you in terms of cabin space, it also creates that very sharp, agile handling that makes it so easy to drive in the city. I mean, direction changes are surgical almost. Now, this does come at a little bit of a cost because the car is so long. At high speeds, you're going to find some drag at the rear. You're going to find it a little slow going around corners at speed. But when the speeds are low, this car really grips and moves and changes direction like you wouldn't believe. Now, of course, because it is an EV, it is extremely quiet in the cabin, and that is really nice. Now, in terms of the ride, it is slightly on the stiffer side. You get the sense that it's been set up for European use a little more than it has for Indian conditions, but even then, there is a little bit of pliance, there is comfort, even when the roads get really bad. Now, the MG Windsor gets about 160 millimeters of ground clearance, which, despite the body shape, gives it the ability to tackle bad roads without really ever bottoming out, and that is saying something. Now, in terms of safety also, the MG Windsor is not to be left behind. You get 6 airbags as standard, you get ESC, ABS, and of course, level 2 ADAS. Now, level 2 ADAS is not something that we really use a lot, but it's a nice feature to have, especially if you intend to spend some time out on the highway. And finally, where the MG Windsor really breaks ground is in terms of its braking. Now, we found that most EVs tend to brake a little abruptly, and the regen tends not to be as intuitive as you would like, especially if you're coming from a nice vehicle. But the MG Windsor has all 4 disc brakes on all 4 sides, and that means it brakes pretty well as well, despite the heft of that 38 kilowatt hour battery. And all in all, it's a car that is very, very easy to drive in the city, very easy to drive through traffic and tight lanes. It's got a great glass view, so you get a great sense of everything that is around you. And it is really surprising just how well this car performs. Hey there, thank you so much for tuning in to our review of the MG Windsor EV. If you like this review, don't forget to smash that like button, because it means so much to us as a channel for our growth. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed to the AutoToday channel, this is your chance to do that now. As far as the MG Windsor EV is concerned, the question that we are asking is whether it's the disruptor that MG have made it out to be. Now, prices, as you know, for now under the base model are 9.99 lakhs for the base model. We haven't yet got prices for the going up variants, but we will leave that on the screen for you to check out. But for now, 9.99 lakhs is where it starts, and on top of that, on the base model, you pay 3.5 rupees per kilometer that you drive. Now, this is something new, and it is going to disrupt the segment a little bit. Let us know what you think of the base model in the comments. We'll be sure to get back to you, and we will also like to hear what you have to say. Now, all considered, the way this car drives, the convenience that it offers, and the absolute comfort that it offers inside the cabin is something that you as a customer really need to consider. And depending on your usage, this could very well be the ideal city car for you. It is nice to drive, it has plenty of range, it has plenty of performance, and the interiors are absolutely class leading. It is probably the best interiors that we've seen on any car this side of 20 lakhs, and that is saying something. Thank you so much for tuning into our review. This is Didi signing off.